Hello and welcome. I'm going to be sharing my solution for this HackRank SQL problem or SQL problem, occupations under Advanced Select. So let's start reading. It says pivot the occupation column in occupations so that each name is sorted alphabetically and displayed underneath its corresponding occupation. The output should consist of four columns, doctor, professor, singer, and actor, in that specific order, with their respective names listed alphabetically under each column. Says note, print null when there are no more names corresponding to an occupation. So it says input format for the occupations table has two columns, one name as a string, one occupation as a string. So let's just see how that table looks. As we expect, we see the name for the records in the first column and the occupation for the records in the second column. And we have 18 total records. All right, moving along. It says occupation will contain one of the following values: doctor, professor, singer, or actor. So only four different types of occupations we're dealing with. So if we have this sample input here, this is the expected output below. And let's just show how that works. So as above, we see it says the order for the columns is doctor, professor, singer, and actor. So first column will be the doctor names. So we have two doctors. We have Jenny right here, Samantha right here. So Jenny should come first and then Samantha. We see that. So that's the doctor column done, and also the nulls filling the rest of the spaces. Um, Next, we have the professors. So we have three professors: Ashley, Ketty, and Christine. So we got Ashley first, then Christine, then Ketty. Next column is for singers. So we have two singers, Mira and Priya, and they print out in alphabetical order. And then the last column is actors. So we have three actors: Jane, Julia, Maria, and that's the correct order: Jane, Julia, Maria. Okay. And right here, it's just saying, explaining why the output is the way it is. So we have our database schema, and we're trying to pivot basically uh, to essentially a new table where we have four columns, four new columns, and uh, for each occupation, and then displaying the names of the people for that occupation. So pretty succinctly, what we basically have to do is right here. It says to get the names to print out in the correct order under the correct occupation, we first want to find some way to relate names based on their alphabetical order, meaning we relate the first alphabetical names for each occupation with each other, and relate the second alphabetical names for each occupation with each other, and so on, so they can be printed on the same row together in the finalized result. So pretty much the easiest way to relate these columns, or I'm sorry, records, is to assign a number to them. So we can do that with row number. First, I'm just going to show how row number works uh, in general, basically applying a number to each record. So say as row num, and then we're going to say, sorry, hold on, name, occupation from occupations. So now it's going to print out an assigned number just based on how the records appear in the table with the name and occupation next to it. So let's see how that works. All right, so we have all the numbers there. But what we really want for this problem is we want to assign the numbers based on the occupation. So here and over, I'm going to say partition by occupation, and then we want the finalized table to have the names of people under occupation in alphabetical order. So we're going to say order by name. Okay, let's see how that works. Okay, so this is really helpful. We have the numbers assigned based on the occupation, and the records are listed in alphabetical order. So now we have these numbers to relate the alphabetical order of records together. So we have the one for the first uh, alphabetical name for actor, one for the first alphabetical name for the doctor, for the professor, and for the singer. And then it'll go, we have the second number denoting the second alphabetical name for actor, for doctor, for professor, and singer. Okay, so now what we have to do is we have to pretty much start the pivot process. So what we're going to do is we're going to get this query as a source table. So we're going to say as source. And we're going to select from this table that we just saw below. And I'm actually going to copy the whole result of the query for demonstration purposes later. Okay, so now, yeah, treating that query as a source table. And then we're going to do here select max, and I'll explain this in just a bit. Just got to type it out. Case when occupation equals doctor, doctor comes first, and name and as doctor. And we need to do this for each of the new columns. So next column would be professor. Column after that is singer. And then the final column is actor. Okay. So these are the necessary select statements. We're selecting from this table with the initial query. And then this is really important. We're going to group by row num. Okay, so now I'm going to walk you through what happens next. So we have this initial query that we're selecting from. And then basically, I like to explain this starting with group by row num. So all the records from the initial query, they're going to be sort of bundled together by their row number. So, and then with the select statement, those groups by row number, they get processed by the select statement group by group. So the first group would be all the records that have the number 1. So that first group gets processed by select. So I'm going to show what happens next with that group. So first I'm just going to sort of bundle them all together. Okay, so this first group gets processed by a select statement. All right, and when the groups get processed by select, right, it happens group by group, and then it happens for each of those groups row by row. So the first record to be evaluated by these case statements is Eve. Oh, Eve, who is an actor. So what happens is that record pretty much goes through all these case 1 statements. So I'm going to show that here. Um, basically what happens is we sort of keep a tab on the results of the case 1s. So I'm going to show that right here. Singer. Okay, so again, we're processing this record. Eve is an actor, so we're going to go through these case 1 statements. Case 1 occupation equals doctor, then name end. All right, so Eve is not a doctor, so it's going to return null. And then we go through the second case 1 statement. Case 1 occupation equals professor, then name end. Well, Eve is not a professor, so that comes null again. For the third case 1 occupation equals singer, then name end. Eve is an actor, not a singer, so null again. And then finally, the last case 1 occupation equals actor, then name. Okay, so Eve is an actor, so it returns her name, Eve. Now we are done processing that first record of the first group, so then we go on to the second record of that first group. So then we have Amina doctor, so she's a doctor, first case one occupation equals doctor, then name. All right, so Amina's a doctor, we're going to display her name, or return her name rather. And then we're going to get null for the rest. I'm just going to go through them. Case one occupation equals professor, then name and null, because she's not a professor. Sing, case one occupation equals singer, then name and she's not a singer, null. And then actor, case one occupation equals actor, she's not an actor. So it's going to be null again. Okay, we processed the second record in the first group, and now we're going to process the third record. Ashley is the professor. So we go to the first case one occupation equals doctor, then name end, so she's not a doctor, returns null. Case one occupation equals professor, then name end, she's not a professor. Oh, she is a professor actually. So then we're going to return Ashley. Okay. Third case one occupation equals singer, she's not a singer, she's a professor as we just saw, returns null. And case one occupation equals actor, then name, and so she's not an actor. Process that third record, done. And now we're processing the fourth and final record for the first group. First case one occupation equals doctor, she's not a doctor, returns null. Case one occupation equals professor, null, she's not a professor. Case one occupation equals singer, she is a singer, so we're going to return her name. And then she's not a actor, so we return null. Alright, so now we processed every record in the first group, and that's when these max and closing clauses get executed. So we're pretty much surrounding all those values with maxes. Okay, so max out of the first doctor section is going to be Amina. And then for the professor, it's going to be Ashley. Singer is going to be Christine. Actor is going to be Eve. So this is the same pattern that's going to repeat for every group. So and the new doctor column that we made from the pivoting, the uh, first name in that column is going to be Mina. A first name in the professor column is going to be Ashley. First name in the singer column is going to be Christine, and the first record in the actor column is going to be Eve. So I'm just going to write that in here. Uh, so this is basically what the first row looks like in the new table. Amina, Ashley, Christine, and Eve. All right, so now we finished processing the first group. That's done. And now I'm going to do the same process for the second group, and then I will execute the code and show you that it gets a proper result. So now we're processing the second group. Oh wait, sorry. Hold on. I just want to keep all these like scratchpad stuff here. For the next group. Okay, so now we're going to process the second group. Throw number equals 2. Okay, so we're going to grab all the records with the number 2. I'm going to place it under it actually. Okay. Okay, so now we have all of our records for the second group. So again, we're going to go through these case one statements. The first record is Jennifer, who is an actor. Case one occupation equals doctor. I'm just going to go through this a bit quickly because you can see the process already. So she's not a doctor. She's not a professor. She's not a singer, but she is an actor. So it returns her name. Okay, first record of the second group is done. Second record of the second group, Julie's a doctor. Her name gets returned. Null for the rest. Okay, now we're going to process the third record of the second group. Velvet is professor. Null for doctor. Name gets returned for professor. Null for singer. Null for actor. And then our final record of the second group was this Jane is a singer, so null for doctor, null for professor. Jane is a singer, we return her name, and then null for actor. So we did all the case ones for the second group, and now we're going to apply max again for all of the results. Okay. So for doctor, it's going to be Julia. The professor is going to be Velvet. Second alphabetical name for the singer is going to be Jane. And then finally, the second alphabetical actor is going to be Jennifer. Oh, sorry. Okay. So, just want to check I spelled Christine's. Okay. So yes, and then that process continues for all the groups in the uh, initial. Yeah, so this process keeps happening for all the groups from the initial query. And yeah, let's just see if this code runs. Should run. All right, so there it is. You can follow the process I did. The names match up. We see Amina actually Christine and Eve for the first row, Julia, Velvet, Jane, Jennifer for the second row. So this code also works for MySQL or MySQL as well as for uh, MS SQL Server. Here. Yep. So that's the problem solved. Thanks so much for watching.